Well, hello, and a big welcome to the Meeple Minded News Shed for this, a very special episode with me, Jason. Paul and his rubbered up Brian have absconded from their duties of anchoring the news show, / Paul isn't very well at all, so big, shout outs to Paul. Get well soon, my friend. Hopefully we will see you back soon. So, yeah, I thought as a special treat I would try and do this whole news show thing myself. And it was a bit of a mistake. There's a lot of work involved, Paul, so I have a lot of respect for you, my friend. Very, very much so. And yeah, this past week has seen a bumper amount of news coming out, and I think that with that being said, we should probably crack straight on with all of the tabletop gaming news that we think you need to know about this week. Okay, guys, so, you've probably already noticed the jingle's different. Paul has his own jingles that I don't have access to, so there you go, you've got the old jingle back. But anyway, first up this week, we are going to the land of tabletop wargaming, and we're going to dive in with the juicy news that came out from the recent Warhammer Fest held by Games Workshop here in the UK. And let's be honest, the big news here is going to be Warhammer 40k 10th edition. Everyone was really excited to find out exactly what the hell was going on with that, and we've got a little bit more information with regards to that. But obviously the biggest news with that has to be the news of the new starter set, shall we say, which was the Warhammer 40k Leviathan set. It's the brand new starter set that's going to be coming out with the brand new rule set, and the set is going to give players 2 battle hardened armies to use on the tabletop. We see, of course, the familiar blue glow of the elite chosen force of Space Marines, which seems to be in every single box set they've ever done. And they are going to be taking on, I think this is going quite old school actually, because I think they used to do this, but they're going to be taking on the sheer brutality in the form of the Tyranids. Now, this set has been shown off a little bit now. We've got a lot of pictures available online, so by all means, check out the Warhammer community page. But yeah, so far what I can see from this is you're going to be getting 25 Space Marine miniatures. That's going to be Space Marine models, as well as, I think there was a Dreadnought in there, various command miniatures as well, but 25 of them in total. 47 Tyranid miniatures. Obviously, Tyranids are far more hardy army, so you're going to get more miniatures because they're a lot more squishy on the battlefield. You're going to get an exclusive 40k Leviathan rulebook, chapter approved Leviathan mission deck, and a Space Marine transfer sheet for finishing off those models and giving you those awesome markings that you see on a lot of the miniatures. I didn't see any pricing for this set, but I'm going to guess it's going to be in and above £100, obviously, as a Games Workshop thing. But they try to bring a lot of detail in with the starter sets, because that's obviously how you get people into the hobby. So hopefully it won't be too expensive. There was a release schedule that was shown off, and it's a long release schedule for 10th edition, starting in summer 2023, which is going to be when the core set, I'm guessing, is going to hit, and then it's going to run all the way through with releases constantly all the way through to spring, or the end of spring 2024. And as I said, the first of that slated releases is summer 2023, so it's not that long away, and that's going to be for your core set, all the major rules and stuff, and then all the codexes and stuff will follow after that. So I would definitely expect some more information, and I would also expect pre-orders to start hitting in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. Games Workshop's website, in stores, all that kind of stuff. Who amongst you actually remembers Cranium? I know I certainly do. Back in the dark days of 1998, when I was just a little Jason trying to find my way out of the world of tabletop torture, aka Monopoly game nights with the family. But there was always that light glaring at the end of the dark, miserable tunnel that was Cranium. Really good times. Anyway, it's back. That's right, Funko and Hasbro have teamed up to release a new line of Cranium games in celebration of its 25th anniversary. This powerhouse collaboration is set to release 3 reimagined classics in the form of Cranium 25th Anniversary Edition, Cranium Hullabaloo, and Cranium Hoopla. And then they were also going to be releasing a brand new game called Cranium Big Brain Detective Game. 4 brand new, well, I guess brand new, 1 brand new game, 3 reimagined games, all coming under that Cranium branding for the 25th anniversary. They're all actually set for release in June 2023. We're in May now. They are coming out in just over a month's time, and you can pre-order them right now on, of course, the huge behemoth that is Amazon. But the point is, these things are coming, and that's an awesome thing to be celebrating 25 years of Cranium. That's pretty awesome. Real big thumbs up to Funko Games, who have got a really good track record with games, just for the record, and Hasbro teaming up to get this out and done to celebrate that. That's awesome. Okay, so while we here in the UK class any form of prolonged sunshine as the start of the summer, it appears that Alley Cat Games has also entered into the summertime party time vibe with the announcement of their summer pre-order party, and more importantly here, sale. As of the date of recording, Alley Cat Games have placed not 1, not 2, but 3 brand new games up for pre-order with planned delivery ahead of a future release to retail, and having those games that you pre-ordered delivered to you between June and July. The new games do have some restrictions. For example, one of the 3 games is not being made available to us here in the UK, and also another only being released in the EU and the UK. So there's a couple of restrictions here. The 3 new games we are talking about are titled Rome in a Day, Phantom Inc., and Magic Rabbit, the latter game being the game released only in the USA and Canada. But they all look pretty interesting. They're all in around the £20 mark. I think the USA and Canada one came in a little bit less, but they all look pretty interesting. I'm definitely leaning towards the Rome in a Day one because it gives me Acropolis vibes. So really interested in that one. But that is not all, party people, because along with these pre-orders, they have also announced a massive sale across their back catalogue of games, which will have up to a whopping 80% off. You can bet your last dollar I will indeed be spending some money after I finish this recording, especially with the added bonus of having the ability to collect the games for free at the up-and-coming UK Games Expo, or indeed Gen Con. Not going to Gen Con, but being able to collect it at UK Games Expo is awesome. One game that I'm just going to put out there and actually say I really endorse and tell you all you should buy this right now is actually Dice Hospital, because I recently placed that game in my top 5 worker placement games of all time when I was invited onto the MTVB podcast by a friend of the channel, Ant-Man, and I don't regret saying that. It is definitely, for me, one of my favourite worker placement games of all time, and I haven't even mentioned the fact yet that this game is actually one of the games that has that 80% off of its marking, which actually makes this game just £10. I mean, hell, I might even buy another copy for that much. That is a steal for that game. I still have it on my shelf. I've actually sold the sequel. I actually sold Dice Theme Park. It wasn't as good. Dice Hospital has survived. It's in my top 5. I recommend that game to anyone. £10, absolute steal. Head over to the Alley Cat website where they've got their sale on. Maybe even get one of those new games pre-ordered. I think I'm going to probably pre-order the Rome game, hopefully to pick that up at Games Expo in a month's time. Okay, so it seems like forever ago that we had the announcement and subsequent release of the Contrast paint line from Games Workshop and Citadel. And to be honest, that release really did change the miniature painting game forever. Whether you love it or hate it, the idea behind this quick form of painting minis did lead to less grey plastic on the war game and even board game tables around the world. I know plenty of people that have taken up painting because of Contrast paints. So roll on from there a few months and boom, the other big paint companies have also released their own versions, with Army Painter releasing the Speed Paints, Vallejo releasing the Express Color, Cephalopod Studios did their Cuttlefish colors, Green Stuff World did Dipping Inks, to name but a few. There were so many that have come out since. All of these have their own style and merit and do what they do pretty well. But yeah, we've seen very little in the form of innovation since. Well, there was indeed one company that thought that there is more to be done with this style of painting, and that means step back into the light, Army Painter, with their brand new Speed Paint 2.0 mega set, which has finally been released, and people are receiving it and are trying out the paints, and they seem very, very positive all over the world, pretty much. The new and improved formula of the Speed Paint Mega Set 2.0 has been developed with feedback from the hobby community to ensure it meets the needs of its users. So it's really great to hear a company listening to the community and what they want. The color range has been expanded so that it includes another 45 colors. And for the first time ever, they have actually managed to do Speed Paint metallics. Now, previously we never had any metallic stuff. You could put a metallic base paint down and then color over it. That was always pretty cool, but it was a two-step process. Now we have Speed Paint metallics, so it is a one coat deal, and you've got instant colored metallics. That is a next level game change thing. I know plenty of 40k players that are loving the fact that they can now get Speed Paint metallics, and they're included in this mega set, which is awesome. So the mega set 2.0 contains 50 bottles. That's a lot of paint, and it does have an RRP of £199, so that it sounds quite pricey, but that makes each bottle £3.98. That is a bargain, especially compared to GW contrast paint. So there is definitely some serious money saving there, and there's even more miniature painting right there. Absolute bargain. If you're interested in painting and you like the idea of speed paints, these do appear to have a much better consistency than the older speed paints. Definitely worth looking into this. You don't have to buy the mega set, you can buy these things individually, but the biggest saving here is of course in that mega set, which has just started releasing to the public. Okay guys, so we have another game hitting the market here. So do you like being that player that plays against all others in a one versus all style game? Maybe you get a kick out of stalking others. While a little bit creepy, do bear with me, why not combine those interesting hobbies together as you become the infamous Michael Myers in the brand new board game Halloween the Board Game, set for release on August 1st, 2023, from the publisher Trick or Treat Studios. Designed by Emerson Matsushi. I apologize if I butcher that name because I'm terrible with names. The designer behind titles such as Spectre Ops, the Century series, and Reef, Halloween the Board Game is a game based on the horror movie directed by John Carpenter and starring Jamie Lee Curtis. In the game, a single player takes the role of the iconic killer Michael Myers. As Myers, the player will be tasked with stalking and killing the others, whilst the rest of the players will need to hurry across the suburban town to either deal enough damage to the killer or find and rescue kids Tommy and Lindsay. This horror board game will have the players searching for various items to help them navigate the streets, as well as weapons they can use to fight back against Myers. Tommy and Lindsay will be hidden in the houses along the street, with players needing to discover their whereabouts and a set of car keys before they can successfully escape. Otherwise, players can attempt to directly face off against Myers in the hopes that they can damage him enough to win. However, Halloween the Board Game is also a hidden movement game, meaning that the players who aren't controlling Myers won't know where he is or where he's going for most of the playthrough. The player controlling Myers will be able to sneak around the board and strike at their victims, potentially killing them and forcing them to drop all of their items and return as a new character, if there are any left. Interesting game. Not seeing any prices on that one yet, but I like the sound of it. It's a good movie franchise to go on. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, but going to keep my ears to the ground on that one and hopefully get a play of that very, very soon. Okay, guys, so moving over to the BGG Hotness. This is a new one for me. Never done something like this before, but I know that it's something that Paul likes to do, so I'm going to do it here. The BGG Hotness, obviously, is the top 5 games that are being talked about on BGG right now. And in at number 5, it's seemingly everywhere. I look at the game clubs in the last month as people are receiving the game and getting it to the table, and with nothing but good things to say, it is Darwin's Journey. In at number 4, keeping its nose just ahead of Darwin, we have the tire screeching, fire raging, sure to be classic from Arcane Wonders. It is Heat, Pedal to the Metal, holding up against Darwin, as I said, but it's staying in that top 5, but I think it's mainly because people are just talking about the fact that we've just had a re-release of it, the next wave of releases, and it's already sold out. People are hoping the next wave will be not too far behind, but it's definitely a game that people want to buy. So, Arcane Wonders, get some more printing. People want it. In at number 3, the God of Heaven has given me all the kingdoms of the earth and has appointed me to build a temple for him in Jerusalem. Do not worry, guys. I haven't decided to take on a god complex. It's actually Ezra and Nehemiah. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly. Unfortunately, I'm not a religious person at all. But yes, this does appear to be a religious-based game, but it is getting people talking. It's due for release in 2024, and it's clearly got enough buzz because it's got you up there to number 3 in the hotness. In at number 2, okay, we're coming back down to earth now. Really, really bad pun. My apologies, because it's Inside Up Games board game Earth. And finally, in at number 1, it's the solo or 2-player narrative-driven adventure board game, the Icefarian Guard. Again, I've probably butchered that name. I apologise. But there you go. That is the top 5 games that people are talking about on Board Game Geek right now. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are in to crowdfunding. And I promise this is the last section. I have picked, there was a massive amount of games that is on crowdfunding right now, but I've picked one that stood out to me and I think a lot of people are interested in. And let's just say it, fans of the Clank series are sure to be thrilled to find that there is a brand new game named Clank Legacy 2 Acquisitions Incorporated Darkest Magic. It's launched on Kickstarter already, and at the time of recording it has achieved its funding goal and then some. It's done a fair bit already. There's about 23 days left at the time of the recording. But in this much anticipated sequel, players will be starting a brand new Acquisitions Incorporated franchise in pursuit of glory, treasure, and of course hazard pay. Do you think you have what it takes to fight the deadly monsters, unravel conspiracy, and thwart a full-scale invasion? Your successes, failures, and choices will permanently impact everything around you. But don't worry, you'll have a fully replayable game at the end, which will include 2 distinct play modes and 2 maps, which you will always be able to look at knowing you created this wonderful map by your stirring actions. Or if you're me, constantly remind you of the poor decisions you made throughout the game. But that being said, if it sounds like your sort of thing, the game is available right now to back on Kickstarter with pledge levels of £1 for access to the Pledge Manager, £80 for the brand new Legacy 2 box, and if you're new to the game, the Upper Management Pledge, which gets you the new content and of course the original Clank Legacy, and that will set you back £144. And that's all we got time for, Meeples. That's literally all I got time for this week. I apologise that I've been rambling on. Paul is much better at it than me. I really hope you get better sometime soon, Paul. And we hope to have you back next week because this was hard. A lot of effort goes into these new shows, guys. So I hope you respect Paul for what he does for you guys. But that being said, I'm going to disappear off because it's almost game night. I've got to get the game table ready. You will hear from me next Tuesday as I meet back up with James, and Paul will be right here for you next week for all of next week's tabletop gaming news that we think you need to know about. But until then, ta-ta for now.